live.
How's it going, guys? It's me, Brandon
Matula and Thomas Hicks. And today is Thursday. You already know that. We already know that, unless if you're living in Australia. Today's Thursday here in the U.S. If you are listening from Australia, first off, holy crap. But that's awesome. Second of all, please tell us what Australia is like. But yes, it is Thursday here in the States. And that means it's our sports day. You guys know Brandon's our sports guy. So Brandon's going to be giving us a sports rundown. He gave me a little preview of what we'll be talking about. It's really cool stuff, y'all. It's going to be really fun, really cool news, and fun little updates. And then a lot of important discussions to be had. Someone's got to have them. Am I right? So that's going to be us. But as always, before we get into anything that we talk about, whether it be sports, pop culture, music, whatever we talk about, we always start episodes, you guys know this, by saying thank you. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much just for listening to our thoughts, because wow, the mere thought that one person, and I know I go on rants about this, about how thankful we are, but the mere thought that somebody listens to our thoughts and opinions is very humbling and very amazing and flattering. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. But without further ado, as y'all know, it's our sports day. So I'll just run down what we'll be talking about today. Just some news here and there. There's not a whole lot going on right now. But there was big news today, so stay tuned for that. And then we're going to have two big topics today. One of them is the LeBron versus KD discussion concerning their championships. That's going to be fun because I know how much Tommy loves LeBron.
Okay. All right.
And then we're going to kind of have an opinionated segment. It's pretty interesting. I just wanted to experiment, and we're going to give our takes of what sport is on top right now as far as popularity. So I'm very excited about that. Mm-hmm. Should be a cool discussion just to get clarity over all sports. And then we also got some pop culture today. Tommy, what do we got there today?
Yeah, so today we're going to be discussing some movie news. As always, you guys, there's actually quite a bit of movie news that came out in the past couple of hours. So, you hear it here. You're going to hear it here first, folks. Hear it here. Let's try saying that 5 times fast. But you will. I'm going to be able to run it down with you guys, kind of give our real quick thoughts on that. And then I'm back again with another movie suggestion. You guys know a couple of weeks ago I suggested The Master, which was on Netflix, which was a Paul Thomas Anderson film on Scientology with Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman. And I'm back again with another movie that's probably just as popular, a little bit more popular because it didn't win Best Picture, but it's a movie that I don't think the youth are really focusing on. It's really kind of, our parents that watch this film. So yeah, I'm going to hit you guys with another film of the week, and then I'm going to get Brandon's thoughts on Django Unchained because he did end up watching that. I know I gave him that challenge in the first episode, but it's a learning curve doing a podcast. We've both been learning that, but yeah. So as far as movie, a little tiny bit of music news, not much, but quite a bit of movie news, followed by a discussion. And then you have the movie of the week and Brandon's thoughts on Django. But that's going to be later in the episode because, we get to sports first on Thursdays. So that being said, Brandon, what's our first topic with sports? What do we cover first?
We're just going to start out with some news, just to start things kind of easy. So breaking news right before we recorded this, Amani Bates, the number 3 overall recruit out of the 2022 recruiting class or 2021? Yeah. Whichever, has committed to Memphis. So that's very big for Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Tigers coming up in this next season. They're in the American Athletic Conference with the Houston Cougars. Right? Yeah, Houston Cougars that just went to the Final Four. So that's going to be really fun to watch in the American to play out. But in other news, the Jaguars named the number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, as their starter. So great stuff there. So it'll be fun to watch him week 1. Yeah. And then Max Kellerman out of First Take is out. He is going to be doing a different project with ESPN, but he is done with First Take. Apparently, there was an argument between him and Stephen A. off set, which is sad because I'm going to miss Max saying, "I want Iguodala," and having those kinds of takes.
Laser beams pointed at the universe. Fate of the universe on the line. I got Iguodala.
Exactly. Man, I'm just going to miss him, and it's sad. But in other news, J.R. Smith, yes, J.R. Smith, the basketball player, is playing college golf. Yeah. That's all I got there.
Well, wait, so what do you mean? Like, is he a coach for a team?
No,
or
he's
something?
playing college golf.
So is he, I guess he enrolled into college?
Yeah, he enrolled into college because I think he did not go to college. He came straight from high school. Yep. He was a lot of people were thinking he was going to be the next Kobe.
Really? Okay.
Because of that, yeah. And I could see it like with all his flashy dunks and everything.
Yeah.
But just to wrap this up, the Hawks extend their head coach, Nick Exel, for 3 years. So that's good for him. He really helped the Hawks soar this year. So that's great. And then just yesterday, the Pac-12, Big Ten, and another conference that I can't think of made an alliance in response to the SEC. Oh, yeah. The ACC, Pac-12, and Big Ten made an alliance against the SEC pretty much. So that's going to be really interesting. We'll talk about that.
What do you mean by an alliance? Like they're grouping up to...
It's not really clear yet. They said that there's nothing set in stone that they're going to do exactly, but they are teaming up basically.
Oh, my God.
In some sort of way. So... yeah, that will be a topic in a future episode.
Yeah, for sure.
We could talk about that, but let's just get the show on the road. So, as we know, LeBron and KD have been rivals over the years. Ever since LeBron's first finals win, KD was in LeBron's shadow, as it seemed, and KD had injuries and departures from his team to worry about. And then he went to Golden State, won a few championships against LeBron. And then he left Golden State, and then LeBron got his ring. So the discussion for today is to really give out our opinions, because I know Tommy has his opinions on LeBron as far as like the weight of his championships. And I certainly have opinions on KD's weight, KD's championship weight. So, Tommy, just to kick things off, out of all of LeBron's championships, which one to you was a fluke, or just which one is not weighted very highly in your opinion?
You know, for the sake of this episode, I won't say all of them, even though I do think all of them is a fluke.
Oh, man.
He got his first ring with Miami. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, that's a red flag right there. You had Dwayne Wade, you had Chris Bosh, Ray Allen, Mario Chalmers, a lot of fun, a lot of good help. Le GM doing his usual thing, moving players around and getting has-beens or hot young players to come in on his team and to give him help to make him seem like he's the hero. So that doesn't surprise me too much. But you know, he just gets way too much credit for 2016. Like the refs,
really?
I just like, you already know the refs were wearing like Cavalier boxers under their uniform, but he just gets way too much help in 2016. Like, you're gonna tell me like they went 73-9, right? The Warriors. Is it 73-9?
Yeah, it was 73-9. You got it.
Yeah. So you're going to tell me a team that's going 73-9 is beating LeBron, is not going to beat LeBron, Kyrie, and a hot and cold Kevin Love? Like, that just makes no sense to me. Like, there has to be a lot of help there. Sure, you had Deladova, cool. Deladova went off a little bit, but without Kyrie, like, it would have been another secured bag by the Warriors. Like, I think LeBron just gets way too much credit for that because, he had the block and that caused Kyrie's shot, but everything before that, like, and I know Kyrie was injured the year before in 2015, so I understand it's pretty impressive, that he made it, but his Mickey Mouse ring from this past year or past 2 years, 2020, the Lakers, like, dude, like anyone, I would be saying this if John Wall had a ring. Like, I think anyone that wins the ring in a situation like COVID and like has all this stuff, that it's not a real ring. And LeBron had a lot of special privileges in Orlando. That was really weird. So all of them are flukes, but for the sake of this episode, to answer your question, get to the bottom line, like which one do I think is the most fluky of them all? Yeah, it would have to be 2016.
Wow. Okay. So do you rest your case there? Is that all that you wanted to get out?
Well, for LeBron, yeah. I guess about LeBron.
So,
I just
we'll get
he's
to
our
KD.
GM. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, we'll get to KD in a minute. So the way we'll do this, because obviously you're more intertwined with KD, like you respect him more than LeBron, like that I would guess. Yeah. So you just gave me your take on LeBron. I'll do a rebuttal real quick, and then I'll give my KD take, and then you give your rebuttal. So I'm going to give you my rebuttal to that. And the thing is, yeah, LeBron has had help. But let me ask you this. Who hasn't had help? So just to open the stat book real quick, one thing that I think was a fluke, the biggest blemish on LeBron's career is that he did not win his first year in Miami. Chris Bosh averaged 18 points per game. Dwayne Wade averaged 25 points per game in the playoffs. And LeBron averaged 27. Like, how do you not win a championship with players scoring like that?
Yeah.
And then so the next year, when they did win the championship, LeBron won the MVP that year. And LeBron won an average, I think it was about 29. And you could check me on these stats. Dwayne Wade averaged 16 points per game. And then 18 points per game. No, 20. Sorry. I keep getting them mixed up. 22 points per game for Dwayne Wade, and then 16 for Chris Bosh. So that's a big difference there. And then moved to the championship in 2014 against the Spurs, or 2013 against the Spurs. Dwayne Wade, 16 points in those finals per game, or in all of the playoffs. And then Chris Bosh, 12 points per game. So, yes, LeBron absolutely had help. And there's points where, like, Ray Allen making his shots and then Bosh getting the rebound. But that's the thing. It's team basketball, and those are team basketball moments. And, yes, Ray Allen made that clutch shot at the end, but LeBron was also the player that made 9 out of those last 12 points to tie up the game and send it to overtime in that game 6 against the Spurs. So, yeah, there's that there. But the one thing I will give to you is that the Cavaliers, yes, there was some funny business going around in that finals. With Draymond getting suspended, that was probably the most ridiculous thing.
Right.
And I get it, I know, but at the end of the day, the Warriors had a game 7 at home with all their guys back except for Bogut. I think Bogut hurt his knee 2 games that, but they had all their stars. They had all the players that made them successful that year. And they choked. They really did. And yes, you can argue like games 5 and 6, the Cavaliers were in favor of the refs. I would disagree with that. Or I would disagree with the fact that the whole thing was a fluke, because game 7, like when you ask players about game 7, they just say it's a whole different thing because it's win or go home. Like it's do or die for both teams. So like the stakes are high, and Golden State didn't play well in those last 5 minutes of that game. and LeBron came out victorious and all of that. And then about the Mickey Mouse ring with the Lakers, like, man, like, I get it. Like, it was a little bit of an easier path because of injuries of the past season. But one thing you got to realize, everybody was going through COVID. You know, Paul George, he was having a pretty good season beforehand, became pandemic P in those playoffs. And it wasn't because of the pandemic per se. It's because of the situation being in Orlando, because that is exhausting, being in the same place, stuck there for 2 months, not able to go home, not able to see your family. It's like a 2-month summer camp, you know, and you have to stay there and only play basketball. So yeah, I see your points, but like, I hate to sound biased, but I don't think any of them are fluked. So I rest my case there. Any quick comments you want to make about that?
Well, I can get behind the Heat, like 16 points. You said Bosch was averaging 18 the year before, then 16 the next year.
Yes.
Like, I don't think
18. Yeah, it was 18 the first year they went to the finals. 16 in their first championship that they won, and then 12. No. 14 the second championship, and then 12 against the Spurs that last time.
12. Okay.
Because they were on the decline is what I'm saying. Like, Bosch and Wade were on the decline because Bosch even got more field goals, more shots up in years after they won their first championship. And he was still on the decline. He wasn't the star that he was in Toronto, and he only made the playoff twice in Toronto.
Yeah. And that's that's why I asked that, because I could give you Miami. Like, okay, I get it. If you're asking me the top 5 players of all time, 2014 Miami Heat LeBron is probably going to be number 4 or number 3.
Okay.
Like, I understand that LeBron earned that ring, and he had help. Everyone has help, though. Everyone has help. Now, Michael Jordan was the only player to only have one All-Star in his entire career, which is Scottie Pippen. But everyone has help. And I understand that. And I could give you 2014, sure. LeBron's peak, why would it not be the LeBron show? My quick comment is that I thought 2016 was a fluke. You disagree, and that's fair. And we'll never – that's the beauty of a podcast, is the beauty of disagreeing, is because none of us are right, none of us are wrong. Now, I will say Tim Donaghy, the referee who was officiating, came out and said that Draymond was suspended to prolong the finals.
Wow.
Like, he said,
I have not heard that. Wow.
Yeah. He claimed it. He claimed that the NBA suspended Draymond Green to prolong the 2016 NBA Finals. There were so many calls against the Warriors and only the obvious calls against the Cavs. And Draymond was not suspended for the ball kick against Steven Adams, but was suspended for the tap on LeBron? I don't know. It's a little fishy.
Yeah. But it was continuous behavior because he was doing it all playoffs.
True, but Patrick Beverley does the same thing.
Yeah, but, well, look what happened to him. He got ejected. But, yeah, keep going. Keep going.
Well, that's just my point, is that the referee said that's why we suspended him. But can we take his word for it? That's up to you to decide. That's not up to me. Yeah. That's up to the listeners. I mean, it is up to me within my own personal life, but like, at the end of the day, it's up to you, you know?
Yeah.
But it's fishy. It's fishy. But yeah, I that's what I would say about LeBron, is that 2016 is fishy, but you know what? I will give you 2014, because 2014 Miami Heat number 6 LeBron is a top 5 player of all time in basketball. So yeah.
All right. So just moving on. So give me your statements of like how you feel about Kevin Durant's championships.
I A lot of people say KD's rings are fake. I heavily disagree. I don't think his rings are fake. I think KD earned his rings in 2017, 2018. I don't have enough evidence. Not that I don't even like saying the word evidence, but like basically I don't have enough to prove to you that KD wasn't not the reason that how do I word this? But it's just tough because if KD was on, okay, scratch everything I just said. Let me start off clean, if you don't mind. Let me start off clean.
Yeah.
KD, let's be real, would probably not have won if he wasn't on a team with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That's what I'm trying to say. So excuse my stuttering. I was just trying to find my words because I am a KD guy, but I'll give credit where it's due. And
out of all the talent in the NBA, it would have been very tough at that time.
Yes, exactly. Because then he would have had to go against them.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I understand why people say it. I understand it, but because if you think about it, KD was the MVP. He was the star of the 2017 and 2018 Warriors. If he got it carried to those finals, wouldn't Steph or Klay be the star? And I'm pretty sure, wasn't Klay injured one of those years, 2018?
I think in the 2018 finals, he got hurt.
Yeah. So
that's why they lost that last championship.
Mm-hmm. Or I guess it was 2019 against the Raptors.
Oh, 2019. You're right.
Yeah. So was Klay injured in 2017 or 18?
No.
Oh, well then that kind of gives your point a little bit more credit, if anything. But yeah, I don't think that KD would have won a ring had he not been on the Warriors. But the fact that he was the MVP and that he was the one who led the Warriors to those rings, I think speaks a lot of volume. Yeah. That's my statement. Yeah. So yeah, excuse my stuttering at the beginning. I was just trying to find like proper words to describe how I was feeling.
And are you done?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He was by far the best player in those finals. By far, in my opinion. Like the mere fact that he hit the same shot in Game 3, 2 years in a row, pretty almost at the same time. It's not really that close, but like hitting that same dagger shot, that's incredible to me. And he deserves respect as far as that as a performer, but as a teammate and a team maker, that's just not who KD is. KD needs, like you say, LeBron needs superstars, and he's gone to the finals twice without a real help like that he's needed, like to win a championship. But KD needs a super team, and he did it with a team that had more wins than a team that had the greatest player of all time on it. Like, think about that. Like, the Warriors won more games than the team that had the greatest player of all time on it. And Kevin Durant went and joined them. Like, and it's not like there was no other option. There were other options. There was an option with the Clippers. I remember seeing that summer that KD was impressed with the Clippers presentation, and that would have been great. Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, JJ Redick and company, and then DeAndre Jordan. That would have worked. Mm-hmm. That was finals contending roster. That would have worked. But he went the easy route. And like, I would respect him a lot more if he just picked a place and then built something there, like he's doing in Brooklyn. Like, he picked Brooklyn, and then he brought Kyrie along with him, and then he got James Harden. That I can respect, because he's building a championship roster there. Even though it's juggernaut, he's still building something. But when it comes to the Warriors, he went to a team that was already built, and he was already the second. Like, I know a lot of people think Steph was the second best. I'm sorry. Kevin Durant has been number two. He's probably number one now, but at the time he was number two.
Yes.
He was the real number two, because he was 7 foot, can hit threes, can dribble, like, oh my goodness, like incredible talent. But just going on the Warriors, he just lost my respect. And I was happy for him the first year. I was like, yeah, great stuff. And then the second year, like, it wasn't anything great in my opinion. And I have to give him credit, like him risking his Achilles, and which he actually did. He did risk his Achilles. He risked his Achilles to help his team out. He was losing to the Raptors, he was really looking back, not a team that could have beat like this past champions Lakers or the Suns or the presently constructed Bucks. I don't think they could have, or the Nets. So
Yeah.
Yep. But I agree and disagree with you, as I've stated. But yeah, good point.
Okay, my rebuttal is once again the super team thing, because super team, yes. If you're KD though, you just have two really good players on your team. Like if you're in KD's shoes. But this is my rebuttal. Here's the 2018-2019 Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, Rajon Rondo, Reggie Bullock, Josh Hart, KCP, Jamario Jones, JaVale McGee, Alex Caruso, Lance Stevenson, Tyson Chandler, Zubac, Mike Muscala, Mike Beasley, Isaac Bonga, Andre Ingram. Here's the 2019-2020 Los Angeles Lakers that would go on to win a championship. LeBron and KCP, Kuzma again, which is good.
Okay.
No Danny Green. So we got Danny Green, Anthony Davis, Avery Bradley, Deion Waiters, Rajon Rondo again, Dwight Howard, Caruso again, McGee again, which is good. But Markieff Morris, THT, J.R. Smith, Quentin Cook, Troy Daniels, Jared Dudley, Kostas Antetokounmpo. I think LeBron needed a lot more help than KD needed, because KD just needed two big people. Everyone else
then KD against the Warriors? Like with the Warriors? The help that he had with the Warriors?
You just had Clay and Steph.
Just Clay and Steph? Like that's probably the best three-point shooting backcourt like ever, And a guy who was like hot as ever, who won back-to-back MVPs, which has only been done a handful of times. Respect to him. Like I get annoyed with him sometimes, but that's respect. Like he won 2 straight MVPs. Like I know Anthony Davis, as far as defense and all-around talent, yeah, LeBron got more help in that area, but LeBron only had one All-Star teammate. And there was a year where there were 4 All-Stars on Golden State, including Draymond Green, the Splash Bros, and KD. So I can say LeBron. You can say LeBron needed help, but he only had one All-Star.
Yeah, I do know, yes, but he had all that small talent, some of the best, if not the best, role players all playing their role on one single team. I don't know. I think it's really cheap. And LeBron was definitely the one that moved that. The thing with KD is KD didn't make those trades. He just joined a team that was pretty good.
That was the best, probably one of the best teams ever. Because and what was so great about them is that it was built, not traded like LeBron does, which is something that I don't like that he does. But anyway, we can ramble about this all day, but we hope that y'all enjoyed this topic. If y'all want to comment who y'all thought was right, put Team Brandon for me, and then Team Tommy if your Team Tommy's right.
Heck yeah!
But just moving on. This will be a fun little segment, and it's definitely opinionated, kind of like our last one. But it's there's no we can use statistics on this, but this is just opinionated. So the question is, and I'll begin it with you, Tommy. Which pro sport is on top right now as far as popularity?
You gave me this topic a couple hours ago. You're like, all right, we're going to cover this. And then you repeated it at the beginning of the podcast. And I just, I don't know. Like, I would say football right now because football's coming up and there's a lot of exciting things going on because you have college.
Okay. Well, let me frame it like this. So baseball's almost done, and it's not going to get that much more hype in my opinion, but like baseball season is almost over. We've been through an NBA season and we've been through an NFL season. So like, and then NHL, like you can include NHL too.
Yeah.
Like, so based on these past seasons, like which out of those do you think is hyped up the most? If that makes sense.
If I'm going personally, which I'm not, but if I were to say personally, I'd say NHL. I'm really looking forward to this hockey season. There's been a lot of fun trades. And I just picked up, I don't know if anyone knows that's listening, but I picked up hockey like a year ago. Almost a year ago. It's just been fun. It's like, it was super random, but it was during quarantine. And I'm like, dude, I want to learn more about hockey. So I got into it, and it's actually a really sick sport. Really enjoying my time there, but it's not about me personally. It's about what I think in general. And here's what I will say: basketball, and here is why. Because this is the greatest advice / just not advice, but what has been said to me from a teacher probably ever. But one of the things that stuck with me when it comes to marketing. So I was in a marketing class my sophomore year, and it was a sports marketing class. And you don't see very many NFL players with deals with, sports drink deals, Nike deals, movie promos. Like, you don't see that very often. Mm-hmm. But you see it a lot with NBA players because you see their face when they're playing. When they're playing football, it's covered up by a helmet. When you're playing basketball, you can see their face, so you can market their face. You can market their body way more.
Yeah.
So for that being said, like, post-quarantine, because I think this is a great question, Brandon, and I think it's an excellent question because post-quarantine, nothing short of everything has changed. Literally everything has changed. I would say the NBA, just because you can market the faces of the players really well, but I think the hype of the NBA has died down tremendously due to COVID. Before COVID, the NBA was like easily the top sport, but I think now it's tied with football. I do disagree on baseball because baseball is getting more hype for sure because we're getting to the playoffs and the finals. But all time post COVID, as of now, I got to go basketball just because of that marketing standpoint.
Yeah, but so I agree with that. It was really interesting to see how their ratings just went so far down last year's NBA finals during quarantine because you'd think like if you can't go to these games, you'd want to watch them on TV. But people didn't. And then this past year, like the ratings went up a lot more. And I think it was lower than usual. It was higher than the year before. But I think it was lower than usual because it's new teams and new faces and people are not used to that yet. So I would agree as far as marketing goes and as far as like hype. Yeah, I would say NBA is top up there. But a sport, man, like my whole life, I've like not watched very much NFL football. It just never interested me because I didn't get invested with the players and they just weren't relatable to me. And college football was more relatable to me. And something clicked to me last year when I was watching NFL games. I was like, wow. All the players that I watched over the years in college football are playing professionally now. So why not just watch it? And I watched it this year. I watched NFL Red Zone every single Sunday, and I loved it. Yeah. And I would watch all the games, and it was just so fun. And I got on fantasy football, and it was great. And, but I would agree with you. I do agree with you that it's probably a tie between NFL and basketball. But if I were to pick one, I think right now, I think it's the NFL. And I think it's hyped because there's so many big names, thanks to college football for being a platform in itself.
Yeah.
and then hyping up all these draft prospects in the future to be on NFL teams. And it seems as if, like, because we see this in the NBA a lot, there's a lot of nobody teams, like the Timberwolves. Like, yeah, you got people at the top that are good, like Cat and D'Lo. And then the rest are nobodies, as Flight says. But NFL, it really seems there's a big face on every single team. Like, I could just go through it. Tampa Bay, Tom Brady. Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa. Atlanta
Baltimore Ravens from Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. There's a big name everywhere, and that's due to the hype up of college in the 2000s and 2010s. So I think with college football's help, because college football is definitely a part of it, the NFL is the top sport right now.
Okay.
As far as popularity, because that's just what it is. And I know that's an easy answer because football has been, like, for the longest time, been the top one, but right now, especially, I think they're on top. But
yeah, just some to put a bow on it. I agree with you though. I really do, because social media, since it's been invented, in the early 2000s, and naming the bigger platforms like Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter in the early 2010s and early 2000s, like when that was being created, it changed the world. Social media has changed the world, and it has changed sports tenfold. And that being said, the number one sport here in the States of all time ever, this is not my favorite sport, but just like in general, is college football.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is passionate about a college. Everyone is passionate about a college and how physical if they can physically beat another team.
Yeah.
And here in the United States, that is the number one sport, whether you love it or hate it.
Yeah.
And because of social media being like, hey, instead of being like, oh yeah, number 15 ran the ball all the way down, you got, Lamar Jackson just ran the ball all the way down from the 80-yard line. Or, oh my goodness, like, Cam Newton just threw the ball like 70 yards for a touchdown. Like, just like crazy stats like that. And you're able to get that connection from social media, and you remember those names, like you were saying, Brandon, and then you can put that on the faces, and then you can the NFL's hype. So you know what? With quarantine and all that stuff, I might actually agree with the NFL. That was a really good point.
Yeah.
So.
But I really liked your point too when you were talking about marketing, because that's something I haven't really thought about before. Because yes, NFL players wear helmets and you can't see what they look like on the field, really. Like, it kind of distorts their face. But in basketball, their face is very marketable, So great conversation all around. I feel like
great.
We really shined in this. But let us know what y'all think. That about wraps it up for the sports section. Stay tuned for the end of the episode for a little announcement about next week's segment. But it's time to, as they say in football, to hand it off to the great Thomas Hicks. Tommy, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thomas Hicks again from 2 seconds ago. A lot of cool news, actually, going on both in the movie and music world. First, we'll start with music because it's not as big. We got a couple albums this weekend. We got Halsey coming out with an album. I Dress coming out with an album.
Nice.
And Belly. Belly is also coming out with an album. And Churches. So Churches, Belly, I Dress, and Halsey. Some notable names there. And then Little Sims is coming out with her album pretty soon. Sometimes I might be Introvert, but that'll be next weekend. And then Lainey as well, GGBBXX is going to be next weekend. So very, very cool things to look forward to there. And Big Boy comes out with a double album with Sleepy Brown. So some big names there. But movie news is what I was really looking forward to, because there's some big news going on. So first and foremost, Ghostbusters Afterlife is another sequel to the Ghostbusters franchise. And the early reviews are saying it's really, really good. If you're a fan of the Ghostbusters movies, this sequel does it justice. And that makes me really happy. Ghostbusters is awesome. The trailer looks so stinking good for this new movie. So very pumped and excited to check it out. That comes out in November. Shang-Chi already has a sequel. So there was word, and it said it's a headline says Shang-Chi correct me, just excuse me, I know I'm going to butcher this name, but Simu Lee says his MCU movie alludes to a sequel.
Wow.
So Shang-Chi 2 is kind of confirmed, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Confirmed to an extent.
I really think Shang-Chi is going to be another cultural shakeup in the MCU. Yep. Like we saw it through Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
It's just incredible what they were able to do with how Coogler just made that movie so great and so metaphorical, and just it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I agree.
You have to read on it just to elaborate on all the stuff about race theory and everything. But it's a beautiful movie, and I haven't seen Shang-Chi yet. I don't believe it's come out, but I think this will have a similar impact. I don't think it'll be as big, but I think it'll have a similar impact, because I feel like a lot of people are going to start liking Shang-Chi. He seems really cool, and I came in to watch the movie. Yeah,
they're saying, and Brandon, I'm just a movie guy, but you're a Marvel guy, and like you got to see this film. Comes out next Thursday. But they're saying best solo Marvel movie ever.
Wow.
I know. That's what the critics are saying. They're raving about this film. So, really looking forward to seeing it. Brandon, as a Marvel fan, I know that probably really excites you.
Oh, absolutely. It's time for something new, and I'm excited for something new. So that in Eternals, like that's going to be really fun stuff to watch, because the universe is expanding.
It's a good time to be a Marvel fan. It's a great year to be a Marvel fan.
Oh, yeah.
Great year.
COVID ended up being a blessing, because we're getting so many projects like back to back to back to back.
Yeah, so, exactly. There's a lot of blessings that have come out of a lot of the dark times. But yeah, to continue on with the news, Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa signed off in a buddy cop movie, so that will be pretty funny. I like those guys. Matrix 4 got an official title. It's The Matrix Resurrections. That's the official name.
Wow. So with what's his name?
Keanu Reeves.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is going to be incredible. My goodness. Yeah.
Matrix 4. It was supposed to come out this year. I know that they're still kind of wary on that, but keep an eye out for that. And then lastly, a lot of news about Captain Marvel 2.
Oh, interesting.
They're saying a lot of the actors are really excited about the actors who are in the film. They're really, really excited to show off that movie. They're saying it's going to be really, really awesome.
Yeah, I think Monica Rambeau, Photon, as they call her from WandaVision, is going to be on there.
Yep.
Along with Miss Marvel, I believe. Or that might be the Marvels, the next show that comes out, or movie. I'm not sure. But great projects coming up in the MCU. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. And then obviously, like we were talking about on Tuesday, we got the Spider-Man trailer. We're going to go more in depth on that as time gets closer. But yeah, great. It's good to be a movie fan. A lot of big movies coming out. Like, I am so stinking pumped for this weekend, you guys. Like I said, on Tuesday, we got Candyman. I'm watching that tomorrow. Or I guess tonight, since this comes out on Thursday. And this is the next movie I've looked forward to since The Green Knight.
Wow.
And I watched The Green Knight a long time ago. So it's been a long time since I've been this excited, but I think this film's going to be excellent. So I'm really looking forward to Candyman. Then right after that, we got Shang-Chi. And then just not a lot of time. You got a couple weeks, but then you got the new James Bond movie, No Left to Die. You have Dune. You have Last Night in Soho. You have The French Dispatch. You have Jack ASS Forever. And you have I know there's another October movie that I'm forgetting. October Halloween Kills. October is going to be absolutely insane.
Wow. In other words, y'all, it's time to come back to theaters. It's time to go back. Man, like that, just you going like back to back to back with all these awesome films. Man, I'm just excited to get back in the theater.
Oh, yeah. It's just a good time to be a fan of film. It's a good time. But yeah, so I'm going to put a bow on the episode to wrap things up. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Before we head out, I'm going to give you guys the movie of the week, and then Brandon's going to give his thoughts. Movie of the week this week is The Departed, directed by Martin Scorsese. It's on Netflix. It won Best Picture in 2006. really fun film. I really like the way the story is told, and it's a story that's pretty unique. I haven't seen a story told like this ever. So, really cool cop film, but it's not necessarily highlighting the good or the bad about cops. It's just highlighting a specific story about being a cop and your life outside of being a cop. But it's so much more than that. And there's a reason it won Best Picture. Awesome film. It's on Netflix. I try to do movies that are on Netflix because Netflix is pretty universal these days.
Yes.
Everyone's got Netflix. So The Departed, awesome. Martin Scorsese cop movie. What could go wrong? Almost like in a gangster mob movie because that's Martin Scorsese's. That's his. Everyone knows that's his talent. You know, we got Goodfellas, The Irishman, Casino. So yeah, The Departed is going to be our movie of the week. If you end up watching that, or if you've already seen it, let me know what you think. And then lastly, Brandon, it's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Django Unchained. That's a lot to unpack. What'd you think?
I thought it was awesome. And my favorite part about the movie was that, like, you know, like you have those moments where you're like, oh, well, that's where that comes from. You know, like it's a very iconic film. I could tell it's just one of those movies that it's just, as an American, like, you need to watch. It's just one of those films that just really, that really just sparks interest. And I was just interested from front to back. My favorite character was Leonardo DiCaprio's character. He was just played so well. And that's where that meme comes from of, like, his character, like, laughing.
Yeah.
You know? Like the snob laughing, like, that's where that comes from. And I just loved his character. Just very spunky, very funny. I enjoyed it through and through. Not Samuel L. Jackson. What's his name? I get them mixed up.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, incredible as always. I love Jamie Foxx. And so, like, I'd love to go more into it. I'd love to go more into it next episode, just to unpack my favorite things about it. But just to make it quick, 1 out of 10, I would rate it at 8.5. It was, like, I'm not a big fan of, like, Westerns and just, like, movies from, like, that time period. But, like, so giving this a rating of 8.5 speaks volumes for me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good then. If that's a high rating on your scale, then I'll take that, you know?
Yes, sir.
Humbly so. I appreciate that a lot. Well, you guys, we always have a blast. We actually kept our episode pretty tight for once, so I'm pretty proud of us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we wanted to go 45 minutes. We went 47. But, hey, not bad, not bad.
Yes, sir.
Brady, were you going to say something? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no issue at all. Next week, just be expecting a lot. Tommy will fill you in what we might be talking about, but I'll tell y'all next week on Thursday. Y'all know what it is. It's college football time. I'm so excited, and we're going to be having a very special guest come on the show, one of my coworkers from the internship that I'm working at, and it's going to be a very fun time. We're going to be talking college football, and I just cannot wait to plan it. And it's going to be a blast. And you're going to get jam-packed with not just, like, whatever info and everything, just info that you want to hear. And it's going to be a great, great show. But Tommy, what do you have planned for Tuesday so far?
Biggest thing right now is that Candyman review. I think that film is going to be a sleeper film. I think it's got the lighthouse potential, though. I've said that a billion times, and I'll say it again. I think it's got potential to be a cult classic. The original film from the 90s, you can't beat that. But this film looks so stinking good. So I got my Candyman review coming out. Really, really excited to get on top of that. Then we're going to go into more depth with some people who know a lot more about Marvel than I do, about the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, as well as their Shang-Chi thoughts, because they were able to get an early screening. Ooh. And then after we talk about, that Marvel news, there'll be some other things that we'll get to that I'm very excited. I want to save, but those are the big three right now. So Shang-Chi. Yeah.
Hopefully Donda comes out and we can talk about that. But
that's the biggest thing. I agree. That's the biggest thing. Will Donda drop? Probably not. But if it does, you already know we'll be covering Donda because it's going to be hot this week. So,
yes, sir.
Without further ado, you guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, my name is Thomas Hicks.
And I'm Brandon Matula.
And let's get this. All right. 1, 2, 3. Stay hot, my friends. All
Dang.
right.
Hey, I think that was our best one.
Oh, man. All right. Guys, we'll see you Tuesday. You know the drill. Be there.
Peace, y'all. Have a great week. See you weekend. See y'all on Tuesday.